Welcome to Dianne Andrews in Black and White, and I'm your host, Dianne Andrews. Thanks for being with us today. We're out of our normal studio, but we're here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at a very exciting event. It is the Winning in the New Competitive Environment, our leadership forum that we do once a year, and we will be doing more of those, where we bridge the gap between college or between business and between entrepreneurship. We work on all of those to make you a better person, to make you a better employee, and to make you a better business person. You're going to be seeing the people who spoke at our leadership forum from 5 states, from wealth builders to credit managers to corporate executives to domestic violence for women only, and also for women who want to learn about how do I write a book. You're going to learn a lot today because it is how to win in this new competitive environment. Come on back to Dianne Andrews in Black and White. Thank you for coming back to Dianne Andrews in Black and White. My first guest for this leadership forum show, and we're talking today all about financial wealth, as I mentioned in my opening reel. So the first guest that I'm going to speak with is Roger Grant from Grant Consulting Group out of Dallas, Texas, here with us in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to talk about how do you build wealth? How do you build generational wealth? How you doing, Roger? Thank you for being with me here from all the way from Dallas, Texas today.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you all for coming, you and your lovely wife. Let's talk a little bit about what you told our audience today about generational wealth, what it means and how do you get there.
Well, generational wealth, what it means is planning beyond just living today. It's a planning for, like I said in the meeting, Proverbs tells us a wise man will leave an inheritance for his children's children. Most of us and most of the people we know aren't functioning like that. We don't prepare our wealth generationally, so it's a mindset shift is really what it is. We're conditioned to go to work, make our money, and we don't really think about anything beyond that. So it's a mindset shift into preparing to be a Proverbs parent, to leave generational wealth for your children and their children.
Which a lot of people who have had wealth, but let's talk to most of us. A lot of us don't have wealth, and we think of wealth as a big amount of money you make every year, at least 6 figures. Tell me, and let's talk to the people who are out there making $30,000 a year, $35,000, which is not a lot of money in today's world.
Yeah.
So tell me, how do they build generational wealth?
Well, there's a couple ways. So let's say you have somebody who's in that $35,000, $50,000, $60,000 range.
Not 6 figures, yeah.
Yeah, not under 6 figures.
Yeah.
If you still have things that you value, that you want to protect, everybody needs a trust. Because this is how you pass on generational wealth is the things that are in a trust don't go through probate. They're not taxed to the next generation. There's a successor trustee who takes all those things over. So even if you're not amassing a large amount of wealth, you can start the next generation off better than you were, which is what it's the middle class and particularly the black community don't do.
But I'm just barely making it. I'm making $50,000. I have 2 children. How much do I tide away for building the generational wealth? How much would you suggest when I'm living to my wit's end and making it work, just barely?
Well, if you're talking about how much you save, that's going to be different for everybody.
How much is there some way I put this away for this generational wealth to put in this trust? How do you do that?
Well, assets would go into the trust for the typical person. If you have a home, if you have things that you want to go to the next generation without any taxes or any other eroding factors, those would be the things you put in the trust. As far as generational wealth and setting money aside, that would be where life insurance would come in.
And that's what I wanted to talk about, because I've heard Dr. James Wilkerson talk about life insurance. How do you use life insurance to build wealth?
Life insurance is hands down, in my opinion, the most valuable retirement tool there is. There's a book out there actually called The Retirement Miracle that tells people, gives people an understanding of how an index universal life insurance policy works. So people can put money into this policy that has already been taxed. It'll grow tax deferred just like it does in their 401ks or their IRAs, but at the end of it, they get the money out tax free.
Which you don't in an IRA, do you?
No, you get the money out, they tax it on the end. So instead of taxing you up front, you amass all this wealth and they take more of your money in the end. If you're assuming a 30% tax rate, you start with $1,000, it grows to $100,000. What do you want to pay taxes on, the seed or the harvest?
Right.
All government retirement plans, government qualified plans are harvest accounts. They tax you on your harvest. So assuming that 30% tax rate, instead of paying $300 in taxes up front, you pay $30,000 later.
So, and most people don't understand this concept or don't know this concept.
Okay.
Like even people in six figures, some may not know this concept.
No.
You called it indexed life insurance. What is the difference in indexed versus just regular life insurance?
Well, there's three different types of cash value life insurance policies. You have whole life, which is kind of like putting your money in a bank. It's a fixed rate, but it's leaving something on the table. You're only going to get 3 or 4%. You're not going to get market-like returns. Then there's variable universal life, which is nothing more than a mutual fund inside of a life insurance policy, which means that you can get market-like upside, but you can also have the downside of the market. With an index universal policy, the money you go in is locked in. You can never lose anything. Whatever you gain is locked in. If the market goes down, you don't ever give back.
Really?
Right.
So you can never lose money.
You can never lose money.
How long has this been out? Forever?
Well, the life insurance industry has kind of evolved over the years. So cash value policies, whole life policies have been around for quite some time. And I want to say in the late 80s and 90s is when variable universal life became real popular because it gave you much greater returns than the whole life. But then we had some of the downturns in the market in the late 90s. People didn't like the fact that their life insurance was costing them money. They were losing money. So,
because that's what I've always heard. Why would you invest in life insurance? And that was in the time I think that annuities became so popular and IBAWs and all of those. So then they created the index.
It evolved into index, which locks in your gains. You cannot lose money.
So tell the audience how, if let's say we're talking to people under six figures, just to talk to most of the audience out there, what would you suggest? What about real estate? They become a part of your assets and building wealth, right?
Yes.
But then life insurance, this index sounds like it's a really great opportunity. And if you even start out with a $5,000, $10,000 and grow it as you could with your financial abilities to grow it, is that what you're suggesting?
Well, if you're looking at a $5,000 or $10,000 policy, would that be the death benefit or how much they're putting into the policy?
The death benefit.
The death benefit. If you're looking at a $5,000 or $10,000 policy,
I'm sorry, what they're putting in every year, 5 to 10.
Okay, if that's what they're putting in, then I mean you could take, depending on the age of the individual, I would say $200, $250 a month. You can set aside, put in a life insurance policy, and create a retirement income stream to supplement what you'll have with Social Security. Obviously, $200 a month is not going to set you up to be wealthy,
right,
but it will help you grow some retirement income that is absolutely safe and secure. And you can't say that about a 401k.
And you're not going to pay tax on it.
And you're not going to pay taxes on it.
Can I take it out anytime I want to, or how does that work? It stays in there without penalty?
You have access to it with no penalties. It's a longer term investment tool. In the first 2 or 3 years, if you know you're going to need access, this is probably not a good tool. But if you're expecting to leave it there long term, after 5 years, you can pull out a substantial amount. Typically in all policies, after the 10th year, you're fully vested. So you can take out every dime you put in.
I tell you, learning about life insurance in the last years really taught me a lot. And I think that's a great opportunity for people to start investing in this index life insurance. Thank you so much, Mr. Grant, for coming here with us and learning our audience more about insurance.
Thank you.
Oh my God, are you Dianne Andrews?
Yes, I am.
Hi, I'm Donald. I love your show in black and white.
Oh, and you have my books. You have all three. Third Man Out, my fiction, Gumbo for the Heart. We're 25 individuals. Oh my God, you have the latest one. I just put this out a month ago.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Do you enjoy them?
I do.
Oh, thank you for
Can I
being
please have
such
an
a
autograph?
Oh, sure. To Donald who?
Donald Spears.
Okay, Donald.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jamar Montgomery, for coming back with us for our second year, and you're as a second speaker on our financial panel, dealing mostly with cryptocurrency. Although you're a specialist in a lot of things, this young man is a mechanical engineer. He just received his law degree and MBA from Southern University, the joint degree, so he's a quite accomplished 30-year-old young man. So tell us, what do you think of the conference this year?
Thank you once again, Ms. Diane, for having me out. It's always a pleasure being able to share and help people find out about alternative investments and opportunities that are here. Oftentimes we're behind the curve, and this conference really helps give people the information that they need, and it's needed.
And you know what, me being, not 30 years old, maybe 35, and also, having achieved some level of success, I still learn here. People tend to think, oh, I got an MBA, I have a PhD, I have an undergrad degree, I've got business, I've got land, I've made it. But I learned something from people here. Like about indexed life insurance. I didn't know that before. Cryptocurrency is new. That's why I had it last year. I have it this year. Let's talk about what do you think of Bitcoin plus the others. I was out in the mall the other day and I saw a machine that said Bitcoin. You have machines now out in malls for cryptocurrency.
Yes.
How do they work?
Well, basically it's almost like an ATM, but what you're doing is you have your own wallet, and you're saying, okay, well, I want to exchange.
You have that wallet with you that you showed.
I do.
Yeah.
I do have my wallet.
Like a little.
It's a hardware wallet. We call it a hardware wallet. Basically, what you're doing is you're exchanging what you have, the Bitcoin that you already have, for actual cash.
Now, can you use Ethereum and any other coins, or is it only for Bitcoin?
The Bitcoin machines are specifically for Bitcoin, but there are some Ethereum machines that are coming out.
Because are they still number 2 as far as expense?
Yeah.
Or
market cap, size. Yes, Ethereum is number 2.
What is Bitcoin going for now?
5,700 last time that I checked. It was down from 20,000 last year. Now it's about $5,700.
So people who invested in it at a high rate have lost a lot of money.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
And you may not like me saying this, but what I saw even for my last year forum, that I saw, you get into cryptocurrency, try to get into it low, let it go up, sell that, and get into some real estate or some long-term investment.
Exactly.
Am I right?
Exactly.
That's what I saw.
Exactly.
That's what I gathered from.
I like to treat crypto as recession insurance, and also as, at the time, being able to fund other ventures. So people are taking it out of something intangible, and moving it into something tangible.
And that's what I was saying. Make your little money and make real estate. I've met 2 young men at LSU. One started at 12, investing in Bitcoin. He's about 21. He's in medical school now, and he is a millionaire. He's worth $2 or $3 million. He bought it when it was $1 to $2 10 years ago. It is amazing. I've met 2 young men like that. So, are there any hints that you can give us on any that may be going like Bitcoin like that?
Well, there's 3 main coins that I'm involved in right now. It's Ethereum, Augur, and Veritasium.
Okay. Tell us how much each one of those. Just
Ethereum is running around $170 right now.
Oh, that's way. So Bitcoin is way above all.
Exactly.
Okay, in cost.
And Veritasium and Augur run around anywhere from $14 to $20.
Oh,
yes.
Really?
The reason why I invest in those is because they're actual platforms that you can do something on. Veritasium is a financial machine. So if you want to invest in real estate, if you want to buy, you can buy gold through Veritasium. It is a financial machine.
What do you think of buying gold? Because I had thought of adding some gold to my portfolio. What do you think of how do you mix up this portfolio we try to create?
You have to have a little gold, a little silver. The same. I liken silver and gold almost to cryptocurrency in the fact that I can't necessarily go to the store and buy something with a gold coin.
Yeah, let me bring my big bag in here and have a gold coin.
Exactly, or silver coin.
Yeah.
However, when you're in a bind, gold and silver works.
Now, our money is not backed by gold anymore.
No, it's not.
That's been a long time ago that they got over.
Long time.
We just create money, making money.
Exactly.
With the $21 trillion.
$21 trillion in debt of money that was just created, and a lot of times we want to blame the United States government. However, it's the United States government that loosened the rules that allowed the banks to create money.
And that was a point that you and Mr. Grant both made about the banks.
Exactly.
The banks and I'm not going to say the words you said. You didn't say it. I'm not saying it on television about the banks, but there may not be some of our best institutions for the best for the customers.
Exactly. It's the only institution where the employees make more than the owners.
Well, what do you think about like Wall Street, like the big boys up there? Some of the ones I can't even think of some. What are some of the big
JP
names?
Morgan.
Yeah. That's still a bank, but like, what was some of the investment houses?
Like Bear Stearns.
Yeah, those.
Or Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs. That's what I always think of.
You know, those are designed for high net worth individuals and also for high net worth institutions.
How are they different from a bank? It's just an investment.
Investment, yes,
Agency.
investment. So they're looking at investment opportunities across the board. Their job is to deploy money in a particular way that allows them to gain money off of their arbitrage, or make money off of arbitrage opportunities. So it's buying low, selling high, or selling when it's low, and selling when it's low to be able to
So
short
they're
the
almost
market.
really stockbrokers, pretty much.
Pretty much.
In a very high level.
In a very high level, yes.
Way of doing business. So do you have your crypto bag, and I know you're just starting out, but you plan on, I've got real estate here, I've got index insurance here,
Yes.
I've got gold
Yes.
here, and I've got just a portfolio of mixture.
Exactly.
If people want to contact you, we'll put it at the screen also.
Definitely.
We'll have your information for people
All right,
to
perfect.
contact you. Well, it was good seeing you again, and next year we'll be back for the third one, coming down here from Shreveport, Louisiana. Thanks, Dr. Montgomery Jamar.
Thank you, Miss Diane. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for being with us, still remaining with us, because we have the third very critical part of financial planning that we're taught in the leadership forum today. And this is Dr. Monica Andrews, no relation that we know of.
Exactly.
That's her married name, is my maiden name. I've been married twice, but I go back to my maiden name. That she's going to talk to us about credit management and funding. So we've talked about building wealth, we've talked about cryptocurrency, we've talked about index, insurance, life insurance. Now let's talk about credit, because I can make $100,000 a year, and if I've got bad credit, what does it mean, Dr. Andrews?
Exactly. Bad credit means you're going to pay more than $100,000 or whatever you're making out
Right.
each and every year. Yes, you definitely want to have your credit score as high as possible. You only have 850. It's the highest score, but you want 700 or better so that you're not paying out extra money and interest and so forth. You know what I mean? And also, a great credit score allows you to be able to leverage. And as you said, we had a great panel today too, just to let you know.
That's
great
right.
Panel. So some of our experts talking about wealth building.
Yeah.
In
We had
fact,
great speakers.
Yes.
And the mayor was, the mayor and Pat. The speakers that I usually put together, this is just so informative and
Yes.
so good, and just a good environment. It is.
Very
It's just
much
it's a warm environment. It's
And-
good energy, and I love that.
and just to piggyback off of that is everyone that you had here, if they're in purpose, they're
Yes.
passionate about what they do.
Yeah, sometimes
You know what I mean?
I
That
don't
makes a
like big
big-
convention centers myself.
Yeah.
We would have had. Well, we'll talk about that one
Yeah,
later. But yeah,
anyway, it was great. It is great, I should
yeah.
say.
Thank you.
But again, so being able to leverage your credit score to be able to use other people's money, OPM.
That's right. That's right.
So that now you can go out and have, we like to say, go have those dollars, go out and make friends and bring them back to you.
Let me tell you, I was watching Equalizer 2. My nephew that just left out had said, "Hey, Diane, that's a great movie." And Denzel
good.
Washington made a statement in there.
Uh-huh.
He said, it takes training to make money, but it takes brains to keep money. And that's what we're talking about here today. Not only keeping it, growing it, but credit helps us keep our money and use OPM, as you talked about, Dr.
day
Andrews.
long. And
Yeah.
it's funny that you said that. I have to go see that movie. Thank you.
It's really good. It's
Okay,
really
good to know. So, so it takes brains, exactly. And the brains allow you to be able to use the tools. Because see, that's the thing. We can get the knowledge and put that in our brain all day long
That's
about
right.
credit and what to do and so forth. But if you don't connect it and use the tools
That's right.
that you're given for our everyday, world, you know, everything
Yeah.
we do it from
Yeah.
day to day.
Yeah.
Basically, we can be spending more money and not realizing it.
And that's what you told
For the-
our participants at the Leadership Forum.
Exactly.
And that's what we're talking to our audience, our 3 million viewers out here today.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to assume that some of them don't know. When I'm giving
Assume a lot of them
Yes.
don't know, including a lot of us. How do
Perfect.
you know, people think every time you check credit, okay, it's no big deal. Let's talk about how to get that credit score up.
There you go. So as I always say is, in order to get your score up, you have to use it. You have to take the test, as I always say. Like we're in school, we're taking a test, you know, in class, whatever it is, you have to put your name on the paper. So when you're answering the questions, that's what gets you that 100% on that.
Right, on that test, right.
So now let's relate that to credit, okay?
Uh-huh.
Because a lot of times, you know, people they might find themselves in a situation with credit and they'll pay off their debt, and then they're like, I'm done.
Right.
Like I did, okay?
Right.
Like when I had to file bankruptcy, because of the whole 9/11 situation, all the different
Right,
situations that went on. Well, I'm like, I'm done. And I cash and carry. That's what I did. Thinking my score should be, okay, now I should be high.
Right. But when you have no credit, your score is even
If
worse,
you're not
isn't it?
using it,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
yeah.
When you're not using the credit, because I had credit accounts that I did, and even with the bankruptcy, because I had a history of it, it's still, my score didn't drop as low as somebody that didn't have a history.
Okay, yeah.
So I had it, but I shut down all of my accounts. I closed them out. Closed accounts don't keep getting you credit. Once you close it out, that stops the length of your credit
And you know,
history.
I was doing that. I would pay off, I'd put a lot on my credit card so I get the points on the airlines, I
Right,
could fly
yes,
free
yes.
and get gifts. And then I started looking, I was paying it off every month. And then I said, I read something that said, don't pay it off every month. Leave something in there so there's a revolving balance to keep your credit score up.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes. So that is, so if you don't want to pay any interest, then you can pay it all off. But the key, if you're going to pay it all off every month, is to make sure that you're paying it off at a time that is already reported that month to the credit bureau, so it doesn't look like it's a zero
Oh, now tell me that.
on there. So everything is timed.
It's about timing, so you
So
need
you have
to
to know-
really realize when your bill is due, when
Right.
that amount is due, okay?
Not just when it's due, but when it's due, and then when does that actual creditor report it to the credit bureaus, to Equifax, to TransUnion, to Experian. So because if they, let's say today is what, whatever day, 4th?
Yeah,
So-
May 4th,
Okay, yes.
2019, yeah.
Perfect. So today is the 4th. So let's say that your bill, they actually reported on the 4th. Let's just say they reported on the 4th of the month, okay? They report to the credit bureaus, and they usually report to all bureaus, you know, whichever one's on the same day, the 4th of every
A
month.
different bureau, every bureau is gonna report it the same day.
No, every creditor.
Every credit.
Every creditor.
Okay.
Like American Express. If they
Okay.
report on the 4th, they're going to report to all 3 bureaus on the 4th of each month.
Okay,
Okay.
And every creditor, maybe the MasterCard may be a different day. But they're
Right.
gonna report to all of them the same day. That makes sense, they just send it
The same
electronically
thing?
and it's done.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Exactly. So you don't want to pay, like if your due date is May 2nd,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
you don't want to pay that fully off May 2nd before they report and say that you had something on it. So you want to show that you're using.
Okay,
You know what I mean? But
Uh-huh.
that way, so basically, if it happened that way, you could actually ask them to move your due date.
oh, you can.
Oh yeah, you can ask them to move your due date. You can ask them that fast. So when they move the due date, then you know now that they actually see that you're using it, and then it's under 30% of the credit score. Because there's lots of things that have to happen. It's the complex algorithm that they use for a high credit score.
Yeah, a lot of people, do you offer that service? Because I remember a person I was dating had a very low score, like 500.
Right.
And they worked on it, they went to a credit analysis person and they helped them get theirs up. Do you do that, Dr. Andrews?
Absolutely.
Okay, because we're going to have your
Absolutely.
information to contact you on the what
Yes.
they call the lower third,
Okay.
at the bottom of the screen. So if there's any one thing of advice you would like to leave the audience on credit management, what would it be?
So yes, so managing your credit is an everyday thing. Every day that goes by that you're not doing something about it, that's a day that you're losing and you cannot get back. So make sure that you reach out because you want to understand the things that you need to do to have a high credit score, and it's not what they teach us, okay? So I'm here to basically teach you what it is that you can do holistically every day, things to make decisions that will get your score up and keep it up. And I also ask that if you already know that information, that you still reach out to me because I would want to ask you to partner with me to pass that information on because we have to pay it forward at the end of the day. We have to.
That's
We have to. We can't be like the country. Okay?
Right,
You know,
$21 trillion
they
debt.
have a jacked up credit score.
That's right, that's right.
individually, we can get our own scores up.
Well, I tell you, the
We're talking
audience
about
has just, the participants here are just raving about all three speakers on credit management. So I really appreciate you coming in from Washington, D.C. I brought in 3 specialists from all over the country
Yes, you did.
for the credit part. And then we have some more from out of the state for even my videographer. My videographer, my editor, came in for this show all the way from Houston, Texas. So we're bringing in experts to show you what you need to know. Thanks again for being with us, Dr. Andrews, and we'll meet
Thank
again.
you so much for having us.
Thank you. Come back next week to Dianne Andrews in Black and White and see our second show on this leadership forum, Winning in the New Competitive Environment.
Oh my God, are you Dianne Andrews?
Yes, I am.
Hi, I'm Donald. I love your show in Black and White.
Oh, and you have my books. You have all 3. Third Man Out, my fiction, Gumbo for the Heart. We have 25 individuals. Oh, and I got you have the latest one. I just put this out a month ago.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Do you enjoy them?
I do.
Oh, thank you
Can
for
I
being
please have
such
an
a
autograph?
Oh, sure. To Donald who?
Donald Spears.